Welcome to the MilesHouston podcast. Now, I'm sure you're all aware of the billionaires of today, whether seemingly flying into space on a whim or inventing the next robot. Everybody is tuned in. But the idea of an eccentric billionaire is nothing new. In a 2006 interview with Web of Stories, comic book writer Stan Lee, rest in peace, said that his character Iron Man was based off of Howard Hughes. Howard Hughes was an aviator, a film director, an engineer, a film producer, as well as an inventor and a philanthropist. Howard Hughes moved to Hollywood in 1926, where he began directing and producing films. In 1927, he won an Academy Award for his film Two Arabian Nights. His other films at this time were widely acclaimed and very popular. However, Howard Hughes was notorious for going over budget, so even his most popular films barely broke even. Around the time of World War II, Howard Hughes, like the rest of the world, was very interested in the war, especially when it came to his films. And he was more narrowly interested in fighter pilots. Now, Howard Hughes was the first person to attach cameras to planes in live time and fly them at each other while shooting a movie, which is revolutionary considering if you look at films of today. First example that comes to mind is the new Top Gun movie that came out this past summer. Howard Hughes helped start that. Now, Howard Hughes' interest in aviation was not only limited to his films, however. He set the land plane speed record, as well as the transcontinental speed record, as well as the global speed record. Flew around the globe in 91 hours, which was smashed the record previous. And not only did he break these records, but he also engineered, or at least had a part in engineering, the planes that he broke them in. Very impressive. Now, Howard Hughes was always known as a bit eccentric, as I stated earlier, and a bit of a loner on top of that. Even though he was, this very rich man, and he could be seen at parties and conventions and such, he was always kept to himself. However, as Howard Hughes became older, and particularly after his wife passed away, he began abusing drugs and alcohol and becoming even more reclusive. He would stay in hotels for days on end, not speaking to anyone. He had a few male aides that would come in and help him, change the sheets, get him clothes, like personal nurses. But for the most part, he would stay by himself. He would keep all of the curtains shut, all the lights were off, and he would work by himself for days on end. There was actually one point of time, not long before his passing, where he was staying at a hotel and they asked him to leave. For one reason or another, they wanted him out. And his response to this was to buy this hotel casino joint venture. And then he went on a bit of a shopping spree. And he not only bought that hotel/casino, but he bought the hotels and casinos surrounding it. And there's actually a small part, or a small neighborhood, that Howard Hughes owned. Basically owned not a town, but a neighborhood, I suppose. Mostly of hotels and casinos. Now, he never really did anything with, because he died just a few years afterwards. Now, Howard Hughes eventually accepted that he needed help. There wasn't really anybody left in his life at that point after his wife passed away, but he eventually accepted that he needed help, and he passed away on a flight, I believe it was from Mexico to Texas. He was staying in Mexico at the time, and he was going to Texas to get some medical attention, and he passed away on that flight. But I mentioned at the beginning of this video that Howard Hughes was a philanthropist. He liked to give away. The Howard Hughes Medical Institute is the second most cited nonprofit or medical nonprofit in the United States still today. Now, after Howard Hughes' death, because he died with such a high net worth, many people thought it was a good idea to make fake wills and memoirs. They would claim that they found a notebook or a journal that he had written in a desk at a hotel that he had stayed in, or they would say that they found his will and that they were included in it. They were an old friend of his, and that in this will he had promised all his money away to this individual. Now, all of these wills and memoirs were eventually found to be false. I don't believe that he actually wrote any memoir, or at least any like official memoir. I'm sure he had notes and such, but I know there are lots of memoirs that were found to be dishonest or untrue. Now you can see why he has influenced one of the most popular pop culture characters of our time, that being Tony Stark, also known as Iron Man. But he's also, I wouldn't say he's influenced the billionaires of today. I don't think he's influenced them in that way. But it's always good when you're looking at things happening presently. I find that I take comfort in looking to the past and seeing that this thing has happened before. Whether that be in television, you look at other forms of media and see how they've become serialized, like novels, for example. Seeing how novels became serialized over time, going from, major stories to a story with a sequel to trilogies to eventually 50-page chapter books, you see. And then television did the same thing after that. And it's always comforting to see, okay, isn't the first time this has happened. Or coronavirus. You look to the past and you see other illnesses and viruses, and you're like, okay, all right, this isn't unique to my generation. All right, I can live with that. Now, when you look at, on a more positive note, when you look at the billionaires of today, and Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Bill Gates. Bill Gates isn't really doing anything crazy right now, but definitely Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk are the two that come to mind. You'll think back to this eccentric billionaire from the past, almost 100 years ago now, Howard Hughes. And you'll remember that this isn't the first time we've had a super rich, not quite all there, billionaire in our world. Thank you, and have a good day.